Welcome to episode 102 of Juan's World, creeping up the century one step at a time. And this morning I decided to take a little walk down to the local pagoda. It's about 1.5 kilometers away, but I wanted to just have a little walk and take some photos. And I discovered something really important when I was leaving. I did all my photography. You can see where I was walking around here. It's a attractive enough pagoda. It's not my favorite by any means, but I don't go there very often because it's on the way to other things and I prefer to go to other things. But this was what interested me, was on the way out, the traffic is like this. And I want to talk about traffic. Now, since I've lived in Southeast Asia, I've been particularly interested in traffic patterns, not least because I was baffled at first about how to cross the street, and now I ride a bicycle and I have to pay attention. And the thing that I was most interested in is that there are two sets of rules. There are the actual traffic laws, and people mostly obey them, but by no means always. I mean, for example, everyone expects people to go the wrong way down a one-way street or the wrong way on a lane that's going a certain direction, and I do it myself because I know how it works. People don't really stop at red lights. They stop, I mean, cars, buses, trucks, big things do stop at red lights. Tuk-tuks, motorbikes, bicycles will stop at first and look, and then if they can see a way of getting through, even though it's a red light, they will go. And people coming the other way will expect that. I mean, they'll do it you know, with like millimeters to spare sometimes. One motorbike going in one direction, one going in the opposite direction, and they'll almost touch, but not quite. And I'll do the same with my bicycle. It's a set of traffic rules that are not the official rules, but they are the rules that everybody understands. And what intrigues me about this is that it's a system that is potentially ripe for complete chaos, but it actually works. Traffic flows pretty easily. And the traffic lights are more of a nuisance than anything else. Back 2 years ago, I used to routinely have to cross the city to go to my Khmer classes, and frequently on my way home, the electricity in one or other of the districts that I had to cycle through would be out because we had chronic electric shortages, and they had these roving outages to save on power. And there are several junctions that I used to have to go through that are very, very heavily trafficked. And the almost paradox is that when the electricity was out and the traffic lights were not working, I more or less always got through the intersection faster than when the lights were working. And that's because the internalized rules of traffic took over from the external rules of the traffic lights, and it worked better. And I want to unpack that a little bit. So let's look at the junction that I mentioned in my cold open. This is coming out of a pagoda onto a main street. The main street is Russian Boulevard. And you can see that a lot of motorbikes want to turn left, but the oncoming traffic is quite heavy. So what they do, you can see it in the footage here, they edge into the traffic. So the traffic has to squeeze a little bit to get around them until eventually it's just not possible, and so they stop and the motorbikes then in a clump all turn left, and then the flow starts again. And why I find this particularly interesting, although there are more complex intersections than this is just broken down very simply. What I find interesting about this is that it's a case of self-interest coming up against a group collective consciousness. Like, so which wins? Do I get what I want, or does the whole group get what it wants? And what you're seeing is a balance between the two. Now, obviously, there could be just complete self-interest governing everything. It's like, I want to go left, and so I'm just going to go left, and I don't care what happens to anybody else. Don't care the oncoming traffic. I don't care about other people also wanting to go left. That could happen, but that would lead to both a lot of chaos and a lot of accidents, because the oncoming traffic would say, I need to go and I'm not stopping, and the person turning left would say, I need to turn left and I'm not stopping, and somewhere there's going to be a crash or some kind of chaos. But what you see going on in this video, and I'll show it to you again as I'm talking, is that there's a growing sense on everyone's part that they like, everyone needs to do their own thing, but they need to accommodate everybody else too, so that it's safe and flowing. And everyone understands this. What intrigues me is that no one on the bikes, motorbikes, cars, whatever, could actually articulate what's going on. They just have a cultural sense that you have to give a little in order to get a little. That is, if I'm on a motorbike on the main road coming down, I have an understanding that those people do need to turn left, and there's going to come a point, perhaps this morning, perhaps later in the day, when I am going to be in the same situation and I need to turn left into oncoming traffic, and I need to have some assurance that the oncoming traffic is going to have some sympathy for me. Now this is a very strange situation that I would like to unpack in a more general sense culturally, because we have a habit, particularly in the Euro-American world, of believing that we have to have laws and rules that come from the outside. And you can consider that to be the equivalent of traffic lights, like order imposed from the outside. But it's also possible to have regulation coming from the inside if people understand that everybody has something to gain and something to lose, but everything will work out evenly if we all cooperate. Now this is going back to political sentiment that I mentioned in much earlier videos. That is the everyone for himself or herself mentality is the right wing, and everybody cooperating is the left wing mentality. And I'm saying that this traffic situation sits somewhere in between the two. That is, everybody is all trying to, you know, get to work on time or whatever they're trying to do in the best possible way. But they also realize that they have to accommodate to other people on the road. That if they do that, they will succeed. If they just do the individualistic thing, then they're gonna get into an accident. So I find the traffic patterns in all of Southeast Asia, not just in Cambodia. Phnom Penh's traffic isn't bad at all. Hanoi and Saigon are unbelievable. But if you understand the traffic patterns, they're perfectly safe. When I first came to Southeast Asia, I was first in Myanmar, and I wanted to cross the street, and I just, look, usual, look right, look left, look, okay, right again, left again, right again. I'm never going to get across because there's no gaps in the traffic. What you learn is to just step into the traffic and keep going straight at an even speed. Don't vary your speed, don't vary your course, and the traffic will just flow around you. Now it takes faith. Now there's the other pillar of this situation, that there has to be not just an element of understanding on both sides, on the part of the person crossing the street and the motorbikes coming the other way. There has to be a strong element of faith that everybody is going to be okay if we do the predictable thing. If we don't do the predictable thing, there's going to be trouble. Now, what this leads to in the short term for me is a belief in a more cooperative cultural system than a dog-eat-dog competitive system. I think that Cambodia shows very well how complete cooperation can work to the benefit of everybody. And that also incidentally works with COVID-19. We've had about 172 cases, no deaths, everyone wears a mask. Social distancing has been the norm in practically all of Southeast Asia for centuries. People don't touch. I mean, they can get close, but they don't touch. They wear masks all the time. And they've had a policy of testing and tracking and tracing no problem. And in fact, you can actually look up all 172 cases online and show where they were when they were first diagnosed as infected, where they traveled from, if they traveled, or if they're locals, and so forth. All 170 odd cases. They're all on a website and you can find them. That's an example of working closely together for the benefit of individuals through cooperation. All right, so that's maybe a strong indication of where my my social beliefs are. I wouldn't say my political beliefs, because I'm really not a political animal, and I'll explain that in another video. I don't vote. I've never voted. And the last time I voted, I was 19 years old. I'm 69 now, so that gives you an idea about that. But I'll talk about that in future videos, and for now, please like, subscribe, tell your friends, and I will see you on Friday.